Mhm. I wanted to, I don't know, and I'm ready now.
I see you. Good morning, Bartolomeo.
So
There's three of us now.
nice.
There you are. Coffee in hand. Of course, my Zoom background kind of makes it look weird, but I don't need anybody to see my messy living room. So I
Cheers.
found this Zoom background of a coffee shop, and I added a little Talossans flag in the corner.
That's great. The flag. I have
Unfortunately, I think the
my
flag's
own flag
upside down, but I
somewhere
couldn't
around
fix it in
here.
time, so I don't think anyone's gonna care.
Yeah, but we all get the picture, right?
The idea,
The
right?
idea.
So how are you doing?
I'm great.
That's good to hear.
Bartholomew, you realize Bartholomew is
I, I think it's unmuted now.
on the call.
His
So,
mic.
Your Majesty, I was wondering how are you doing with these micronational diplomacy efforts you're doing?
Um, I do a lot of on Facebook. Like anytime I do anything, I post it in on our Wittenberg group, and then I post it on. There's two other groups that I'm part of. Um, Micronations, I think it's called, and the other one's called United Micronations or something like that. And so I post there, and then I've been making friendships with other heads of state, um, and just kind of putting us out there more because I know we were pretty isolated for a long time, um, and I felt like that was the wrong course, but it wasn't my place, and I was just like the Secretary of State or whatever. But I think as the king, I should be the cheerleader out there doing everything I can. I want to do
Yeah,
more,
the chief.
but I'm waiting for the next government to see what they decide to do, because with the foreign ministry and things, because
Yeah, the Ministry of Foreign. I think Antalya was planning to join us this session, but I don't know if she couldn't make it at
I
the
don't
very
know.
end.
Hopefully that'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But yeah, I just keep trying to promote us, and but there's a lot of like really childish things out there too. Like our country is 46 years old, so it's got a lot of history, and it's very well developed. And some of them are like they. I created my micronation on December 24th, or I'm like, you've been around for 3 weeks or 2 months, or there's a lot of there's a lot of them in like the Philippines area. There's a whole bunch of them over there. I'm very surprised, but they all seem they post so much stuff about everything they're doing. I'm like, seriously, nobody needs to read when your king sneezes, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
you have to kind of work
They
to.
are trying to make like a personal a cult around the personality of their
Yeah, they really are. They're and so that's why
of
we got over.
their leaders and just like make uh,
Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit.
Mm,
Hey, Luke.
yes.
that didn't work.
There's four of us here now. That's more than just having me here.
Be glad we're for at least for now.
Right. That's
Hoping
I'm glad to hear.
to be more. When
Oh,
I was in the last year, when the DNC was in the government,
Uh-huh.
We talked about the other, the
Mm.
micronational community, and I proposed make something like a screening out of all of these, perhaps dozens of micronations. A lot of them, I just feel they lacked the history. They didn't have any history to showcase. Maybe they were like two people in their
Right.
micronation, and but there were some others that had a lot of years and a lot of people, and some of them make history some way or another. And I believe the one that came from nothing to the very top was the slow Jamastan thing. And but perhaps we can have maybe like do a list of micronations and that we can feel comfortable having diplomatic relations with,
Right.
because they all, I think it was Tafial who said that Reddit our micronations was recognition between others festival. Like everyone is trying to have other micronations acknowledge and recognize them, and they have like we have been recognized by. We don't know who they are. A lot of these anymore. There are a few to have a lot of people to make them outstand themselves within the large community of micronations. And I just don't think that we have a lot of good micronations. I don't think a lot of the micronations actually are very completed.
They're not
They're
really
like
serious.
building themselves,
Yeah.
but they never got around to anything. And I remember, for example, Ladonia.
Uh-huh.
Ladonia
Right.
has a very large history. The it made the news a lot of times. Ladonia is the one in an island or like in a river, some structure or Ladonia. There was one that was making like an art piece.
I think you're thinking are you thinking of Sealand?
Sealand, Sealand. No, but the Ladonia one was like a piece of art that was installed in a river or in the
Oh,
middle
okay.
of some woods. But and the I don't know if it was the Switzerland government that tear it down and they build it up again. I don't know, but that makes very good history, I believe. And I don't know which micronations you think are worthy of them all.
Yeah, there's obviously it's funny you mentioned Slowjamistan because they're literally like a 2 hour drive from my house. Their
Oh,
ground.
nice.
I keep thinking I'm gonna go down there when I have some time and just, hey, here's the king of Talossa visiting the Sultan of Slowjamistan. But
That'll
you know,
be great.
that would be kind of fun to do because they're the only ones that I know of that are close by, that actually have a piece of land that they're actually on, but there are others. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'd have to go back onto Facebook and look and see, because there's so many of them, and I try to be friendly with a lot of different ones, but I know some of them are just not serious. They're just like 12-year-old children
Yes,
out there, or people that have three voters, and there's one in Africa that I won't associate with because it's very misogynistic, and I'm like, I don't even want to deal with that. They're homophobic and anti this, anti that. I'm like, oh, seriously. And then there's like other ones that we didn't like the way you looked at us, so we're declaring war on you. I'm like, war? How can you have a war? What are you gonna do? Send your imaginary army to their imaginary army? It's ridiculous.
Hi
Yeah,
everyone.
yes, totally.
What was that?
It- I tried to get my sound working and I think I managed. So hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Luke.
Hello, Azul.
Also,
We can hear you. If only we could hear Bart. I can never say Talossan names very well. I'm terrible with it. Bartolomeo.
My
There you
my
are.
mic should be working right now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Because I had the wrong mic selected, so
I mispronounced my own name for so long. I always in my mind I've always said Zeke. I don't know why. And then I heard someone pronouncing it, and it was Jack. Or like, what the heck? I'm like, I can't even pronounce my own name. I do try though,
Yes,
but I'm terrible now.
always read it like check.
Yeah, exactly. And I
but
heard
yeah,
it was Ian Plastics. Um he pronounced it. I'm like, wait, who's that? Oh, that's me. Oh well, what can I say? You got it wrong in your head. It never goes out of your head. So, what are you guys doing on a Sunday morning, Luke and Bartholomew?
but it's not really morning anymore here.
Well, that is true.
yeah,
That is
it's
true.
afternoon.
I did forget about that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hey
you said
guys,
it was a bad time for Europeans, but actually it's kind of okay-ish
yeah,
on a
like
Time is
right
Sunday
it?
anyway.
now,
What time was it?
right now here it's 4 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I almost forgot that we had a time change here in the United States, and I was laying in bed thinking, I have another hour, and then I realized, oh no, I don't. I lost the hour
I
because
mean
our
there
time
are
changed
like
this morning.
multiple time zones like in the US or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have 3 or 4 time zones in the U.S. So,
Oh, yeah,
like, what is it? Pacific Mountain. Oh, there's 4 time zones. Yeah,
yeah. Then there are states that don't observe daylight savings, like
yeah.
Arizona.
We just had it today. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, here in Europe, you have like three main time zones:
mhm.
Western European time, then of course the big one, Central European time, and Eastern European time.
And, freelance video editing work, and I do like 50 interviews per month.
Uh,
I have to listen to them, and I have to cut them down to 5, 6 minutes instead of half an hour. But they're scientific researchers, so it's very interesting work to do because I feel like I'm compiling all the information of a lot of scientists, and some of the information really sticks to me, and I feel like a science fan now. It's a great work, my Sunday work.
I, I'm a teacher, a school teacher, so I teach middle school, 7th grade.
What was the age of your students?
They're 13.
13. That's a very chaotic
It's a
age.
very chaotic age. A very chaotic age. They keep me on my toes all the time. It's never ending. But I was gonna say to my European friends here, here's a fun fact about me. I actually was born in Germany.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
was born in Germany. My dad was in the army. Um, I I, I lived there when I was obviously a baby, and then I was there when I was in middle school and part of high school. So I spent a lot of time in Europe, and I traveled around as much Europe as we could possibly get to while we were there. And my wife, the Queen, she used to live in London for several years with her mom and stuff. So we have European connections, that's for sure.
that's great. I read your Wikipedia entry
Uh-huh.
because when you became a king, you updated
Yeah.
very neatly, and I found it fascinating. I said this is like a movie. This is worth a movie. It's a great story actually.
I don't even have on there the fact that I've written 2 science fiction novels. So, but that's why I'm wearing my Star Wars hat and my Star Wars shirt.
Oh, let me show you what I have around as well. Here's my
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Black Series edition. Yes, I have like maybe 8 of these hanging, flying around.
Oh, you're a Star Wars fan too, then.
Yeah, I'm a big Star Wars and The Simpsons fan.
The Simpsons.
I'm very happy because this little Hummer,
Uh-huh.
it's signed by the Latin American voice actor.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, and he's very beloved here in all of Latin America.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I once this is a different cartoon. It was oh shoot, what was it? It was went right out of my head. Never mind. I met the voice actor of one of the I don't even remember what it's called now. It went right out of my head. It's a sign of my age. But it reminds me of that because I was at Comic Con and one of the actors was there, and I'm like, that's really cool. And he was the robot Bender, and we made it
Oh, Futurama.
Futurama. There you go.
Yes.
It was the voice of Bender, and he was talking in a normal voice. I'm like, I don't believe you're the voice of Bender. And he starts talking in his voice. I'm like, oh, I guess you are.
Yes. It's fascinating. It's a
Yeah,
great talent.
I know. I can't even get 3 words out, let alone do that.
Yes, cafecito.
So what are you guys up to, Gluck and Mark? Let me. Oh, there is your coffee again.
Yes.
I just finished
I
Just
don't
two
really,
cups to start the day.
2 cups. It's the good thing.
I don't want to offend anyone, but I don't really drink coffee.
For shame. Well, tea or whatever beverage is your choice is fine too.
Tea I like, coffee not so much.
I remember several years ago, me and the Queen, we went to England for 3 weeks, and we got off the plane and we were so tired, and because it's a long flight from LA to London, and so we get off the plane and we're looking around for coffee, and we go to a Starbucks. And I don't know what the heck they served me, but it was not coffee. It was disgusting. And I'm like, I didn't even drink it. And I'm like, this is not, maybe it was coffee, but it did not taste like coffee at all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know they warned me about this, but seriously, the first cup,
How would you describe it?
it it might have been coffee, but it had a really weird like flavor to it. I don't even know how to describe it. It was odd. Maybe it was just the water. I don't know. It was weird. I'm like, this is
Yes, yes.
Starbucks.
Yeah, you will hope they do. You will hope they will be very consistent with their coffee, but
Apparently not.
I, I guess they're not. Yes.
So I bought a little can of instant coffee and I took it with me wherever we went. So I'd have coffee because otherwise I'm like not drinking their stuff. That's gross.
Yes. You found better coffee somewhere else in
Yeah, I
London.
just found some instant coffee out of one of the stores and carried a can with me because every
Sure.
hotel we were in had I had a kettle, so I could brew water. It was just make the coffee itself, but ugh,
Yeah. I
so
don't know. Maybe when people talk about coffee, it's very it's a very broad spectrum because the before 2010, everywhere all around the world, people drank dark roasted coffee,
right,
and that's the flavor people is used to. Then somewhere around 2010, specifically in London and somewhere in Japan, it started to shift. They were looking for lighter roasts, which have more fruity notes. And to this day, I find people that actually hate that path coffee took. But because we're so used to dark roast coffee.
Mm.
And I even there's a California-based coffee roasters called Dead Wish Coffee, and their logo is a skull, and it's a very black metal
I've
thing.
heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, and they call their slogan is the world's strongest coffee, and it's a very dark roast coffee. Because of the hype, I bought some. I bought half a pound, and it was great. But since one day, I don't know how it happened. I shifted my mouth shifted something into looking that lighter roast coffee, and I just think you have to. It's an acquired taste, really. I don't know if Starbucks in London made that kind of coffee. I don't think so,
No, it wasn't.
but
It wasn't. Wasn't really strong. It was just an odd flavor. I don't even remember
yeah,
exactly.
no, no,
I
no,
just
no.
remember thinking this is not good.
Yeah, the only cup of coffee I gave back, it was in Starbucks as well.
Oh,
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
can I get a refund on this? I just had a sip of it, and they say, okay, I guess, and made a refund.
What is this swill you're serving me?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
But what about tea?
What was that?
Tea. You
Oh,
like
I like
tea?
tea also. I really like um Earl Grey.
Oh, great, right.
I got that from Star Trek. Captain Picard, tea Earl Grey. And I'm like, I gotta try this. I'm like, oh, I like this actually. But we have a little British shop near us, so I'll go in there and I'll buy some
Oh,
British teas, you know, because
nice.
American tea like Lipton tea is just it's just boring. So
Yes,
I like the ones I get from the little British store down the street, like Earl Grey. There's um, I'd have I have the memory of a goldfish. I'd have to go look at my cupboard to see what kind I have, but I have a few different ones that are nice. And I'll drink them usually I usually drink tea mostly in the winter when it's cold. Or cold is a relative term. I mean, I live in California, but cold for us, you know, and I'm like I need to get a little bit warm so I get some tea in the evenings and stuff, but you know, or iced tea. I'm very American. Iced tea too.
iced tea. Yes. I only drink tea after. I'm a, I don't drink coffee after 4 or 5 p.m. For me, that's tea time.
All right.
What about you, Luke?
Tea I mostly drink at the office, but at home I also drink tea, but not as often. And I like Earl Grey and I like rooibos. Uh,
Rooibos, yeah.
uh, just black tea. At home I have like this package with like rooibos and it has like cinnamon or vanilla or some there's like a mix of various things. I like that.
Yes, I had my first rooibos cup of tea last month. My first, and I need more.
Mhm. So, Luke, how does it feel to be a knight now?
Uh, well, I mean, I was very pleased to become one. Uh, like I enjoy it, but I'm still a bit hesitant about the Sir Luke thing.
Oh,
That,
it
that
was my
just
thought when I became king that having been Secretary of State for 4 or 5 years, anybody who's been Secretary of State really should be honored because they that's a hard job, you know. And watching Luke do it now, I'm like, oh, thank God, I don't have to run the next election. Oh, it's like a weight off my shoulders, not having to deal with that stuff anymore. That that's hard.
yeah, of course, Luke is doing it way better than I ever did because he's like making the whole new system and everything.
Yeah, you know, I wish we could have gotten it sooner because towards the end of my time, it was getting where I was having to contact MPF several times, like this stopped working and this stopped working. There was one election when the emails didn't work at all and nobody was getting their ballots. And I'm like, oh no. Of course, I learned about the day of the election. Like, so it was getting, the database is getting old. So I'm glad he's being able to replace it. And something I couldn't do. I was considering going back to just Google Forms and spreadsheets.
Oh yeah. I mean, that would also have worked maybe, but
Yeah.
this is better. Yeah. 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 When I was SOS, the job was mostly just, you know, leaning on MPF to do stuff.
Yeah. I
Very, yeah, dependent on him running the thing, and I just made some wit posts occasionally,
yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the electoral commission stuff, of course.
Oh, that part was always the worst part for me was the electoral commission trying to get them to respond and trying to get them to validate the votes. There'd always be at least one person who was like the last person to validate. I'm like, would you please validate these votes so we can move on? Oh man. Oh, I'm so happy that
Daniel, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
Daniel Cecescu is is always part of the electoral commission, isn't it?
No, I don't think he's ever been on the electoral commission.
No? Oh no, he's the one in the he's in the committee that double checks the ballots, I
No,
think.
I don't think he's ever been
No,
on the electoral commission that I'm aware of.
Okay, my man, I'm just a little confused, maybe.
Like
It's okay.
often it's like people like Istefan or um XPB. He does it a lot. Um I
so
don't think
Jan is, I think, for the Senate now.
yeah. I don't know
Then
who's on this time. I think Estefan's one of them. Um they do that a lot, so they're kind of used to it. Um but I don't think Dana has ever been on the electoral commission as far as I'm aware. At least not when I was Secretary of State.
Yeah. I'm saying because
no,
I'm meeting him very soon. I'm meeting Daniel Cecescu very soon. He works 1 kilometer away from my job,
Uh-huh.
and but we have never met each other. We added to Facebook. We talk a lot. Sometimes we talk about what we're doing, how we're doing with some stuff related to where we live, because where we live it's a very chaotic city these past few years. But he received my ID and his ID,
Oh,
and as soon as he gets both of them, I'm going to finally meet him, and I think we're going to go and have a cup of coffee as well.
there you go.
that's
That's
very nice.
my first time meeting another Talossan.
I actually met King John,
Hmm.
and Baron Hooligan and Sir Traska several years ago. I was in Colorado for a conference in Denver, and they live in the area. So the four of us went out and had a really nice dinner. Um, they're really fun in person, but that was the only time I've, other than of course the Queen, who lives with me. And that's the only time I've ever met any Talossans myself. It was weird sitting there with them, but it was it was nice. It was fun, but yeah, meeting others. That's why I wanted to do the coffee thing. At least we can see each
Yes,
other's voices.
yes.
Know that we're real people behind these screens. Uh-oh. My Zoom's gonna be. Oh, we have 10 minutes left on the Zoom. It's on the
Okay, all
free
right.
version.
It's okay. That's great.
I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, understandable.
I got better things to do with my money.
But I think it's nice that you organized this. And if it, happens more
Yes.
often in the future, then it's always nice to actually speak to the Lawsons. And
Yeah, that was one of
yeah,
my goals. When I became the king, was to make us more of a community because we get a little not sidetracked. That's not the right word. A little like isolated behind our screens and things, and and sometimes when someone's rude or impolite on Wittenberg, and I'm like, you guys, I realize the person you're talking to is a real person, and they have real feelings, and you have to be careful about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's that's
Yeah, of
what I
course
want.
we sorry.
No, no, sorry.
Of course we also did like the sometimes the Discord games and that was nice and I think we should have like a election night, TMT result night thing again
Yeah,
soon.
we should do that on election night. We should definitely um be
I
live
think that is the
results.
plan. I mean, Jan is responsible for that, of course, but I think the plan would be to just do the same thing as last year with the TMT results in Discord just before the election results.
That would be good. That'd be fun. See the
That
live
was fun.
results. Because this is for the first election in years that I won't have some idea of where it's going to go. I have,
That's the end of this month, right?
yeah, it starts on the 15th, the
Okay,
election.
all right. Yes.
So like 6 days. Oh my goodness. Luke must be nervous right now because this is his first election.
And the big test
Yeah.
of the new
And a big
the
test.
new
It's just, yeah.
website. Yeah,
Hopefully it works.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, he's pretty
Okay.
thorough.
Yeah.
Yeah, he already sent some screenshots, and I think it looks pretty nice. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
I looked at his database or his database of citizens that he has. It's pretty good, you know. So there was a few errors. Like I had to. Hopefully he fixed it because they keep calling um the former king the Duke of Florencia. He's not the Duke of Florencia. That's his son Patrick. He's the Duke of Liverpool. I'm like, I would know because
Oh,
I'm the one that made him the Duke of Liverpool.
wow.
And like my ex, like she sent me a message and she said the former king, the Duke of Florencia. I'm like, he's not the Duke of Florencia.
Wow.
I
Okay.
didn't remove the title from his son. I just added a new one for him so that he'd have something. Oh well, I guess it makes sense. It's confusing and stuff, but like, yeah, I would know. I'm the one that created him. Then. Oh, oh well. But I'm really curious to see how this new coalition's gonna do. Because, man, you're a part of the coalition, right?
Yes, I actually have to pay my fee, but I will do it as soon as possible.
Well,
But
I
yes,
don't
yes,
think you have to pay it until actually until you're ready to claim seats. I mean, you can probably, I think you can even do it after the election, but
all right.
until you're actually seated in the Nicosa, you can't claim your seats unless you pay the fee.
Yes, and I always, as a coffee at the party, I aim something that I know it's not very well seen by the others, that is, I have a government composed by different parties
Uh-huh.
because that to make everyone involved, I think, and have a if we are very different parties in the government, we have the feeling that we are a community and we are working all together towards something instead of just trying to be in power or something. I think we need to have a strong sense of community
Right.
as Talossans, and have a coalition is one of the steps in that direction, I think.
I agree.
But you're
Yes,
always
yes.
going to have a coalition and opposition, right? I mean, the community should always extend beyond whoever is in government. I think one of the things that always hinders Talossen, like as a whole, is how both sides always like retreat to their own little camps.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of like internal discussions, of course, in the freedom avant side of things, and presumably there are a lot of internal discussions in uh, the opposition or whoever they are at the moment.
Yes.
Uh, but I think that's a lot of like a big part of the loss that is just missed by everyone else. Uh, I think it would be much nicer if a lot more was like done in the open instead of behind the scenes.
Right. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to organize this and do this. I want to do this at least once a month, because I've always been a big believer that once you realize, or when you see the people that you're talking to, you have to be more civil to them because you see that they're actually real. It's really easy to get forgetful and forget that there's an actual person there, but you're talking to them,
Yes,
you have to be more appreciative of their viewpoint as well. And everyone has their viewpoint, and not everyone's right, not everyone's wrong, but we have to respect that. That's part of what being
totally.
a country means, and one we choose to be part of.
Yes.
So this Zoom's going to end soon, so we're going to have to wrap this up. But I hope you guys come to the next one too, and I'll probably do the next one later in the day so that people in like New Zealand or wherever can join us. Because my answer's like, it's too early for me. And I'm like, well, sorry, it's just the first one. Or super
Yes.
early for me. I don't know what time would work best for them, but we'll see. I'll ask everybody what their thoughts are before I do the next one. But thanks guys for coming and hanging out with me this morning and drinking some
Thank you
coffee.
for organizing this.
Yes, thank you for organizing. Have
I'll
a
see you
nice
later.
day, I guess. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
There you go, Brett. There you go. Pour that coffee.